If I want to distill my experience to three, advice or points, I would say try to practice the most common questions. Just try to practice those, questions and have an answer ready. Which brings me to my second point, which is try to keep those answers direct, specific, thoughtful, and short. When you're asked a question, try to provide a background, give a little story, what you learned from it, how you grew from it, and then, what you're bringing to the program. It's a lot to fit in 1 minute, but if you practice, it will be second nature. Which then lastly, it brings me to my last point, which is the equipment that you need for virtual interviewing. A lot of the interview is going to be on Zoom or WebEx or a combination of other platforms. They're limited by specific frames per second, and so do not spend exuberant amount of money on cameras. Really not necessary.
When you start picking your interview dates, pick early dates, because a lot of applicants get into that routine. They get into that deja vu routine at the end of the interview season. So, which can actually impair your performance.
I guess my top advice would be to meet with your mentor or the person that you really are close to and have worked with in the past to discuss your plan A, plan B, and maybe even your plan C to see if there's any changes you would do, which specialties you should apply to, if you want to apply for backup plans besides your plan A, and to see which residency programs would best match your needs and your interests, which leads me on to my second point, is to apply broadly for any of the specialties you plan on applying to. When I say apply broadly, I mean not just in one state, but consider other states or locations that you feel like you would be happy living in long term.
And don't be scared. I know I double, triple, quadruple check if I missed anything. There are two components to submitting an application. I think you have to approve or certify or something, and then you have to submit. That is the process. Missing anything, I remember checking again to make sure that my application was actually in. Trust the process. It will be fine. It is very stressful, and I completely understand. And if you're not stressed out about the process, something is wrong. You need to be stressed out, but that level needs to be a little bit healthy to the point that is, motivating you to do well, motivating you to excel in the interviews, and not really limiting or inhibiting your ability to show, your true self and how you belong to that particular program.
Biggest thing that I think is just to be yourself. That's one of the biggest things that we look at. Yes, your scores do matter, but that's not the only thing we're looking at. We want to know you as a person. Are you going to fit in with us? Are you going to succeed at your program that you're looking at? So be yourself whenever you're interviewing. And just being prepared. So like Mustafa said, practicing as much as you can. That really, really does help. Don't go into this winging it. Know what you're going to say. Know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Have questions that you want to know whenever you're interviewing with the residents. Be honest about the kind of questions that you want to know. We're going to be honest with you. We're not going to sugarcoat things. So if there's really things that you want to know about, ask us.
For each interview that you do, take notes, both positives and negatives, and even questions that you may have, so that you could ask, you could ask those questions at a later time, or you could use those notes when you end up doing your ranking, for your match.
Don't compare yourself with your peers when you are reading or sharing your personal statements or resumes, because I want you to focus on your strengths and describe yourself in your own words. It's really important to stay focused on how you want to be perceived and how you want to be portrayed when you send your applications out. And sometimes if you compare yourself with others, you may stray away from your true self, or you may doubt yourself on certain things.
Know that we're definitely interested in anything other than what you did outside of school. So your hobbies, your family members, we want to know all of that stuff. Use that as an opportunity to let us know who you are. And just to build off of that also is to not neglect your personal statement. So a lot of people think that we don't even look at your personal statements, but we do. Every person that I interviewed last year, I went into depth and read their personal statement, and I make it a point to ask them about what they were talking about in their personal statement. So definitely be ready to answer questions about that as well.
Is to highlight any qualities or unique skills that you may have during your interview, such as sports, music. If you cook, if your family is in the area, if you're in the military, that usually really helps. The interviewers and the interviewers to be on the same page.
Good luck, everyone.